say this as a Tengrist. It's something more spiritual, more in touch with nature. For example, it is believed that everything has a soul. There are camps. They're called shamans.
How do people in Tengrism get to know the creator that they believe in?
First of all, everything. It's called Nik, and it started when I looked for it. I chose the equivalent of the devil in Turkish mythology. I chose Erlik.
I found the answers to my questions within Islam, but I found them through logic.
I looked at my logic and I could not find Islam.
Wouldn't it be better to enter the palace again? What do you say to enter through this door again?
Brother, it seems like I'm slowly coming to faith, but I don't know.
My palace has already been destroyed. My palace has already been destroyed.
Is it okay if we post this on YouTube?
Yes.
Guys, today's topic is about religions. Do you believe in anything? Do you believe in a creator?
Brother, I believe in the creator, but I don't have a specific information since I haven't researched religions yet.
Buddy, I normally say I am Tengrist when people ask. It's something more spiritual, more in touch with nature. First of all, there is no written book of it. There is no prophet and there is no clergyman in general. There are Khams. They're called shamans. Kham is the Turkish word for it. It's all there is, more or less. For example, it is believed that everything has a soul. It is believed that living in harmony with nature is the right way to live. In general, it's showing respect to nature. I mean, there is no worship. Of course, there are some holy places. For instance, there are some special prayers for rivers, mountains, hills, etc. These may be regarded as holy places. It's not exactly like this, but as I said, there are no books or specific rules. Since it is a religion that can change according to the era, it is very flexible.
Well, what about the attributes of the creator? You believe, what kind of creator do you believe in? Since there is no prophet, no book, then how can people get to know the creator they believe in Tengrism?
Generally, they cannot know. We can think of it as a kind of mother nature. It is a little bit like that. There is only his name, Tengri. It is believed that he is the creator of all things. Nothing else is known about this topic. It doesn't interfere with people, doesn't do anything, it doesn't send any rules. There is nothing. It says, for example, live in harmony with nature. If you refuse to do so, then you will be bringing your own punishment. It doesn't promise heaven for doing good, nor does it promise hell for doing wrong.
Well, let me ask you this. I am just asking to learn, by the way. The Muslims get asked all the time. I'm asking now because I'm curious. How do you know that this belief is true?
We can't know. We don't know. It feels right in general. It is beautiful since it is connected with nature, and nature is important to me.
But if it is according to the feelings of a person, then for example, you felt it but I didn't. Because feelings can vary. In that case, how can this be objectively true? Because if something is true, everyone can see its truth. You can prove it logically.
Because of my family, I used to pray, I used to recite the Quran. Unfortunately not anymore because of my circle of friends.
Me too. Since I was born in Turkey, I was a Muslim like everyone else. I think after I was 11 years old or something, I started to question. For example, we used to go to Taraweeh together. After some time, friends and other things started to lose their effect on me. They began to be insufficient. I let go. I searched on my own. I was an atheist for a couple of years. After realizing that I was more inclined towards Turkism, I became curious. First of all, everything, it's called Nik. It came out when I looked for it. Then I said, is there a Turkish mythology? I went, I looked, I researched, I saw there was. And since black metal stuff are evil things, etc., I chose the equivalent of the devil in Turkish mythology. I chose Erlik.
Like the devil god in Turkish mythology, right?
Yes. In Turkish mythology, he is the god of the underground, death, evil, war, and so on. He is called Erlik. What we call Tengrism is actually more of a spiritual religion with everything having a soul.
So, is it there is a creator in everything sort of thing?
No, it is more like the creator is in everything. Not like a creator in everything. On the contrary, to every being, he has given something of his own soul. Actually, that's what's believed, so even though there is no creator, we'll form a concept and call it Tengri. We can do this because, as I said, there are no rules, there is nothing written. That's why we can call every corner of the universe Tengri. We can also say that it's everything before the universe.
You said there is no logical explanation for this. You said, logically, I can't explain it. There's no proof. People believe in this with their feelings. Then, now as someone who is in a logical research, if I can't find any logic in the Tengri faith, isn't it more reasonable to look for another religion that has a logical explanation? That's what I did. When I looked at Islam, I found the answers to the questions that came to my mind, but through reason.
but I couldn't find any proof.
Well, let me say this. If we find a logical explanation, a proof for Islam, will you return back? What do you say? Let me ask both of you.
It's too late for me.
I'll come back.
Why is it too late for you?
I have to go physically and see God. You might say you don't see Tingri either. As I said, it's not a logical thing. This is something like being together with nature in terms of feelings. It's a spiritual thing.
Now, let's talk about it with a summary like this. And like you said, maybe if it makes sense, why not? You said that people search for logical things. Maybe you'll change your mind too. Maybe you'll say, yes, I find it reasonable and beautiful in terms of feelings. Perhaps you'll change your mind. When I look at the universe, I see that the results of my logical research led me to Islam. The universe, for instance, I think of the universe as a book. When I look at the universe, every detail, every single one of the atoms, every electron, every proton, even every quark, looks like a letter that gives me a message, a meaning that I extract. Now, if we look at the universe, there's matter in the universe, right? So everything is made of matter, everything is made of atoms, everything is made of atomic particles, is that right?
That's right.
Right? Everything is made of particles. When I look at these particles, they have no knowledge, willpower, strength, or life. They are not alive. They are lifeless beings, like a wall. Now, when I look at it, in every movement of the material beings, in everything they do, there are acts that constantly require knowledge, consciousness, and wisdom. For example, the formation of a human being from a single atom, or that person's ability to speak and see, systematical actions of the cells in your body. When I look at it, the fact that something like this emerges from a single atom shows me that behind those atoms, there's someone who has knowledge, willpower, strength, and life. Let's think of an example like this. Let's say we make someone sit in a car who is blind, deaf, and mindless. Now, this man is on his way from New York to Los Angeles, but how? He can't see, hear, or reason. From the hundreds of thousands of different roads, junctions, he always chooses the right one and reaches Los Angeles. Is that even possible? Imagine going back and forth over and over again, choosing the same road for each travel among thousands of roads. Is it possible for him to do it on his own?
Of course, that's not possible.
Brother, it is irrational.
Then we'd say, I suppose, logically, if something like this happens, as I see it happen all the time, I'd say, behind this man, there is someone directing him who has sight, knowledge, and willpower. He can't be doing this on his own. With the most basic example, actually the example of the atom we gave just now is very similar to this one. So when I look at every particle, every matter, every atom, wherever they go, among the millions of different possibilities, they always choose the right one. Like we said, when a particle is becoming a part of a human being, it always goes to the right places, choosing the right possibility. A particle came to our body. The particles that need to go to the eye go exactly to the eye. The particles that need to go to the lungs go exactly to the lungs. And when you think about it, let's say that particle exits the human body and it goes into the body of a plant. And while the plant is becoming a tree, that particle always goes through the right way to the place it's supposed to go. Then it goes from there to another animal. I mean, it's like going to a factory. It travels to every factory, it walks around, and wherever it goes, it works perfectly and in the best way. Just like the example of the man who goes back and forth to Los Angeles, it always chooses the right paths. So just like I look for someone else with willpower, some other reason behind that man, I look for a being with willpower behind these particles as well. And all particles are under his control. So I would say there is someone behind the atom. You know what this type of reasoning leads me to? It leads to the faith that Islam tells. Because what does Islam say? There is only one God. He doesn't need anything. He controls everything. He is the one who manages and controls every one of the particles. We can keep doing this. For instance, we say, a human beings act according to logic. If there is such a feature in human beings, we'd certainly say that the one who created us will also act wisely. And then we would say the one who does everything wisely will surely send us a prophet. He'll send us a book. Because think of a commander, for example. The commander assembles an army, but there are no rules. Does that make any sense? Or a king establishes a state, but there is no management, no rule. Is such a thing possible? Have you ever heard of it?
No.
If such a thing is not possible, certainly that entity, if he does everything wisely and logically, would surely send a prophet, I would say. In this army he assembled, in this order he established, he will send a book explaining why were human beings created? Why are they here? What are their duties? All of these deductions always bring me to the points that Islam tells us. Logic always says Islam. What do you say at this point?
Brother, it's strange. My brain is not working right now. Brother, it seems like I'll slowly come to belief, but I don't know.
Maybe it's like, this is like a seed. Then it will grow in time. Maybe it will be like this. What do you say?
Brother, you gave my friend the car example, the atom example. I want to give you an example of a king. About other things are written. If there was such a thing, most probably that would be written there. I mean, if it's that detailed, most probably this ruling would be included in the Quran down to when it was first commanded.
Islam already tells this. What does it say? It tells about the first man, and it tells about the first man being a prophet. Islam says that prophets were continuously sent to different societies. You can even find the following information in Islam. It is said that a total of 124,000 prophets were sent. What Islam says is the first human is a prophet, let alone sending prophets afterwards. Islam says that the first man is a prophet. Those societies were sent a prophet. But I say, let us look at our society. Now we are a society and we are in a search. Like every human being is in a search. Like you said, you are a Tengris because you feel like it. But what I'm saying is, feelings are changeable. Let us look for logic. And if I can find Islam through logic, and if it also appeals to my feelings at this point, wouldn't it be better to further my research based on that?
I looked at my logic, but I couldn't find Islam. In general, I don't have much to say. I've said what I've said so far.
What about you?
Brother, I want to decide after I do my research.
Well, then I will ask you this. The car example that we gave is just one example, right? It was an example that we all logically agreed on. Isn't that example alone sufficient proof for us? You said that the examples don't quite fit right now. It makes some sense, but you said they have to sprout. Isn't that example enough of a key to open that door? Because even just one key is enough to open the door. Assume that we are in front of a palace, and the palace has 1,000 doors. If 999 doors of this palace are closed, but only one door is open, would we enter this beautiful palace or not?
We would.
We would, right? What I'm saying is what we just talked about. We've made a lot of logical deductions. Even for one of them, we've said, yes, this makes sense. We can think of that car example, for instance. If we think of it like a key that opens that door, where the 999 of its doors are closed, wouldn't it be better to enter the palace? What do you say?
Brother, but the rest is also important to me.
You can open them from the inside.
Maybe I can't.
But you would be inside the palace. Because is there any good in being outside of it?
No, there isn't.
But there are many benefits to staying inside. So logically, what I say again is, even a single piece of evidence is enough to enter Islam. What do you say to go through that one door? How about we go through that door again?
Brother, I have to search in detail.
You'll continue to search after you enter.
Probably.
What do you think?
My palace has already been destroyed.
Okay guys, this is the end of our interview today. It was a great interview, inshallah. It was like planting a seed for one of these friends. Inshallah, it will grow in the future. The other friend didn't want to believe either. But our duty was to tell, to convey the message. Inshallah, the guidance is from Allah. Let us pray all for our friend. We came to Kadikoy as a team and conveyed the message. We continue our efforts.